It's enough, I think. It's enough, I think.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Live Stream. I'm your host, Edie, and I'm here with my super awesome co-host, Mr. Scott Free.
Hey, everybody, and sorry I missed the last program, and Edie was on her own, but she did a wonderful job, and I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back.
Yes, I'm glad to have you back. And we have a very special guest, Mr. Chris Ero. How's it going, Chris?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me, guys.
Good. So, you and Scott kind of know each other, so I'll let you guys kick it off, and then I want to definitely talk about what you're working on. So how did you guys meet?
Well, we met at the Jill Stein meet and greet in Oak Park. And I remember there were so many things about that night. I remember like being in a panic because I think petitioning was like starting it in a few days and nobody was talking about it. I was like, can we just mention that we got to start petitioning? And then I also remember that like, I just think it's going to be a fundraiser, right? And I'm like, okay, you guys, pass the hat. Nobody did that, but it was super fun to meet you, Chris, and to meet Jill. That was a great evening. Actually, it was super fun.
Yeah, same here. So I think that event was, 2024, early 2024?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So 2024 was, it was a year, for me, just in general, being a Democrat / liberal for pretty much like most of my life. Okay. And then all of a sudden, one international event, like most people, right? That well, at least for me, that kind of radicalized me in such a way that I left the duopoly so fast, didn't have time to pack. I was just,
Yep.
And the Green Party was a nice, off ramp, so to speak, right, where I kind of found like-minded people, found community outside of the dominant, I guess the dominant train of thought, I guess, that's kind of pervasive, in the country. So yeah, 2024 was it was a year. Met Jill Stein twice, actually. Didn't expect to meet her once, but I met her twice. So that was that was pretty exciting. So that was the highlight, of my year. And voting third party for the first time. My wife voted third party as well for the first time. So
how did that
feel? So you know what? It actually, the past election, probably more so than any election before that, actually was the most important to me, primarily because it wasn't just, me looking at just a slate of Democrats and just voting, right, without considering the platforms or considering, the proposals or considering, what they vote on typically, right? But for this one, it was different. I was a little bit more dialed in, paying attention a little bit more, so I was way more informed than I was this time, 4 years ago, and obviously, previous elections. So that was the difference, for me, which is being informed and, and knowing exactly who I was voting for, right, and what the person stood for and what the party, stood for. So it was the first election for me where I was like, okay, take a deep breath. This is different, It feels a little bit more like I have a little more responsibility compared to before. So,
that's an excellent way of looking at it because I kind of did. I mean, mine was more gradual of leaving Democratic Party, but as now I'm so far away, you're so right, Chris, that it's like we analyze the issues and we like. Whereas in their world, it's like it's so surface that's the thing. They live in a surface world. They actually are they paying attention to Venezuela? No. I mean, they are just, and it does feel great to like be really engaged in the issues as they're going to go vote. Absolutely.
Yeah, and know that the vote is actually going to matter. It's going to count. It's pushing for real change. Yeah, I voted for Nader in 2000 out of spite because C-SPAN screwed me over. He was going to speak, and then they cut to, I've told the story many times, George W. Bush's workout room without him in it.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, so you don't want to hear me to hear him speak? Then I'm definitely voting for him.
Oh yeah.
I said spite.
And there was the 2016 debate where Jill Stein was locked in the closet or in the basement or
I
something.
didn't
Where
know anything about
yeah,
that
she
then.
tried to get in, and they held her in a room until it was over.
Yeah, they're not letting Bush debate either.
Right,
So.
he's having a hard time getting in. He got into one of them, but yep, it's been difficult.
They're like, oh shit, he can't come back.
Right, right, because of issues. Right, that's the thing. You know.
Yeah, he cuts through their gobbledygook talk, and the Dems keep trying to reinvent themselves. Not saying, what's going on the other side is even remotely okay. But the Dems keep trying to reinvent themselves as the opposition, but they're not. That's the thing. Leadership, not voters.
And to me, the best example was the Breakfast Club, where Jill and Butch were on there giving content, and they freaked out at content. They didn't know how to deal with content. It was like they didn't know how to respond, and that showed it all. That showed
so
it.
They
all.
weren't prepared for substance.
Right.
No.
Right. Nope.
So of course, obviously, with paying attention a lot more, I've gone through a series of emotions, right, on a given day, just angry, upset, enraged. And then there are times when I am positive and hopeful, right, because I still have a belief in people, right, and a belief in the potential, of community. So it's actually pretty interesting how, I guess, the project kind of came into being, as well as, the idea of the league, itself. It was started over something as Saturday, dinner, going to Chinatown for, dim sum. And what I noticed on that trip, and again, it's not anything out of the ordinary per se, but for me, in my mental space that I was in at that moment, that emotional space that I was in, it was pretty profound, right? So on the way there, you come across, panhandlers, people asking, for money, needing things, that sort of thing. So we came across a mother, and I believe she was a Hispanic, right? So she was a mother, had a child with her, selling water, on the side of the street, and the highway, to be exact. So my mother-in-law at the time happened to have a $5 bill. Just give that to her. You can help. Oh, okay. So that was a nice moment. So maybe about 30, 40 minutes further into the trip, we get closer to Chinatown. So I happened to see another lady, this time a Black lady. She wasn't selling water. She was just, asking for anything that anyone could possibly give her, right? So unfortunately, I didn't have anything, to give her. And this wasn't the first time, that I've been in a situation, but this was the first time that being helpless or not being able to be of service actually stuck with me. Yeah. And I didn't understand why. I'm like, okay, well, this has happened before. So what's going on? Two distinct events, but they were actually connected, right? You have two women who have been exploited in various different ways, but society would probably frame those events slightly differently, right? You have one who's, at least trying to earn a living, as opposed to one who's just asking. So even on the surface, they can be presented slightly differently. But for me, they're the same thing in a sense. Yeah. Right. Both women who are being exploited, both women who are, being treated by society as being, less than. So I was contemplating and thinking about those two events, those two women, for the longest time. But I was primarily thinking about the Black woman, obviously. And that has a lot of connections for me, because being the son of a single Black mom, and all those thoughts and emotions were kind of in the background. So in that moment, I said to myself, well, you know what, moving forward, I'm going to not make me giving resources or money, it's not going to be charity, right? It's going to be intentional. So that means that moving forward, whenever I'm, coming across, someone, the package just that I'm going to be distributing, making, that's going to be intent. It's going to basically, I'm not going to be helpless moving forward. No one's going to be helpless, moving forward. Right. So that was kind of like the idea, the seed. That's kind of how it grew, not wanting to be helpless, moving forward, right? Just be in a position where, hey, whatever I can do to be of service to you or the greater community, that's exactly what I'm going to do, because your well-being, believe it or not, is connected to my well-being. We don't even know each other, but it's important that we both do well, right? It's important that our neighbors do well, because that doesn't just speak to the immediate community, it speaks to a society in general, right? How do we begin to be healthy, right? We begin by trying to take care of one another without any pretense. You don't need any preconditions, to do this. You just have to be able to care and to understand that it's a shared struggle.
Now, give us the name of your organization. You said maybe it's temporary, but give us the name and the origin.
Yeah, so I'm as of right now, the working title is the League of Liberation.
Yeah.
So that is the bigger organization, behind this. So the packages, that's just like the intro, more or less, right? That's how like an
it's
entry
like the parent
point.
company in a way.
Yes, the parent company. Yeah.
For us, corporate minded folks out there that don't understand.
Who watch too much.
But it's not that.
So ultimately, community control, dual power, that sort of thing. That's what everything is going to be fully materialized. Just ecosystems of self-sustaining care and community autonomy. And again, this isn't so far-fetched. These things that we can do, things that we can have, we just have to be less preoccupied with the spectacle of electoral politics. So by that, it doesn't mean not to support third parties or candidates. It just means that your energy, time, and focus should be on building community resources, right? So that's, as of right now, that's kind of what I'm preoccupied, with, just talking to people, getting to know, well, what's important to them, and what does a healthy community to you, look like, and can we collab and figure out, how can we start a garden to feed ourselves, or how can we start a worker co-op in the future, so employees have more of a say in terms of wages. So that sort of thing, a pathway to just having alternatives to, state-funded, institutions, more or less.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, my electricity is a cooperative. So my electricity stays at a reasonable level.
Okay.
Those kind of things really help everyone. I mean, even if you're kind of all right, makes things kind of affordable. And if you're not, you have something to rely on until things improve, but I was just going to say, it's the system that's let us all down. So we have to do what we have to do now.
I mean, we're hearing every day on the news about the SNAP benefits about to be cut. I mean, it's even hard to imagine the panic that's going to happen in this country if they are. I mean, I can't. It's and they're even the places that give out food are panicking, because if that's going to happen, there's no way. We don't have the capacity. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Chris, that we have to be building these things. We have to build our own systems through, connections and meeting each other. And as I've said so many times, I don't consider the Green Party really a political party for me. I'm doing the stuff. I'm doing the electoral politics stuff because that's kind of the requirements. But for me, it's a place to meet people. Like you said, that was the coolest thing about the Green Party, is like meeting people who like, okay, yeah, we have the same ideas here, right? And it's an organizing tool. And even the Black Panthers said that. That was their, it was an organizing tool. That was the point.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. So as of right now, like I said, I'm just preoccupied with building, right? So got a new title. I'm a builder in every sense of the word, in terms of prefigurative politics. It's what it's called. So, building the reality, right, that that you want to see.
Okay.
So part of it is envisioning a world that doesn't even exist yet, in a sense, but getting people on board with the idea of, hey, this is the slow, unglamorous work of community building. It's not a movement. It's not a rally. It's not, a big gesture. It's the everyday in and out, slow building of relationships. And building the foundation that's going to, kind of stand, the test of time. So that's what I'm engaged in as of right now. So like I said, I don't really get too concerned about, like I said, the spectacle now. It just the No Kings movement, government shutdown, and again, things that have tangible repercussions, right? Obviously, for certain people. But I'm more or less, well, if we can build a society, where a government shutdown would be inconsequential, then I'm all for that, right? It's like, if we can feed ourselves, we can clothe ourselves, we can take care of ourselves, provide our own safety. The idea is to make these institutions more obsolete over time. It's not going to happen overnight. But again, what is the pathway to, achieve, these things? It's like a government shutdown no one should fear that, right? A Republican administration, Democrat, whatever administration, we shouldn't fear that. The people shouldn't fear that, right? Because we have infrastructure to take care of ourselves regardless of what those external, institutions are doing, right? Yeah. So long term, that's what I hope can kind of grow from this. It's not just about one league or one person. It's about different communities doing similar things, which is we have to take care of ourselves. And let's not pretend like that societies haven't done this before, right? I mean, one point in time, societies did take care of each other, obviously. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just more modern times for specific capitalist reasons, right? That doesn't happen nowadays, but we can't pretend like, that it's imaginary. One thing that the system does, right? It does put a monopoly on imagination. It does tell us what's possible and what's not possible.
Well said.
So,
very well
and
said.
I say again, we just have to redefine that. We are in control of our future together, collectively. So we decide what that looks like.
Yeah. And I love what you're calling it, the League of Liberation. And you said it was LOL as kind of a not so subtle joke, but it sounds like superheroes in a way. Like, you should have your own cartoon or something.
I got an illustrator that I can hook you up with. Trust me on that one.
Yeah, but you also said, while they laugh, we build. Yeah. And you want to normalize caring for your neighbor.
Yes.
And that's beautiful, because no matter what happens, away from us, at the end of the day, all we really have is like our families and our neighbors to rely on.
Yeah. And the way that things look, I mean, the future looks like a bad sci-fi movie, right? I mean, they could get really, really bad. AI, robots, digital ID. I mean, things could, and then the militarization of the police and the shutdown of protests. And I mean, things can get really, really bad in the future. So yeah, this is a necessity. It's a necessity. I know it sounds like you said, I think you have the right approach. Yes, it is a mutual aid on maybe kind of a small level, but what it's going to take is everybody doing that. So that it's a whole bunch of
But I'm hearing that from so many communities. That means it's happening in lots of places.
Right.
Yeah, and of course, it does again, right? LOL does sound funny, right? Everyone getting involved, but like, no, honestly, to achieve the type of impact that one would need, it would literally take almost everyone, in some sort of way, right? The cooperation. That's going to be needed for everyone to invest, in themselves, but invest in each other. But for them to recognize that it's worthwhile too. It's like you're not just helping people, you're not just giving people, you're helping yourself. It's like it's a mutually beneficial relationship, right? To not only help someone liberate themselves, but to liberate yourself as well. To liberate your capacity, to care. Right. The state says a fraction of our tax dollars can go here to help out a finite group of people. I say, well, no, it's our tax dollars. Right. So we're going to take all of our resources and we're going to help whoever we want to help. We're going to help ourselves. We're going to help, whoever we are in position to help. We're not asking for permission. Right. We're not asking for people to sign forms or to wait in line.
Yeah.
We're hitting the ground running and doing it because simply we can.
I know.
And it needs to be done.
Means testing, the worst invention ever. I mean, it's just horrific. Right. All of our systems, all of our government systems are all mean testing. Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I say we can bypass that. We can.
Yep.
We can.
Yeah. And I was going to bring up another point in terms of like, I live very close to Uptown. I'm on the north side of Chicago. There are so many programs here, but then you go out through the rest of the Chicago, and there is nothing in a lot of areas. Nothing. It is really desolate. They talk about deserts. Well, assistance. There are assistance deserts in Chicago. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if I
There
could,
are everywhere.
so if I can just encourage anyone, it would be to engage in the idea of withdrawing consent. So by withdrawing consent, it just means that our power doesn't come from, obviously begging the ruling class, begging institutions to be kinder, right? It's not asking for, for them to manage our oppression with a smile, more or less. It's basically we have to take our consent back, right? In any way, that we can. So we're not reformers of a system. We're not here to repair safety nets. We're here to build a whole new net, package by package, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well said.
Yes.
Absolutely. You sound a little bit like me, because I'm like, let's go on strike. Let's break it. Let's build it over. Like,
Right.
it's not broken. It's fixed.
Yeah, and it's like it's a lot of talk about general strikes, but I very rarely hear like the actual mechanisms that it would take to actually have a strike, right? It's like a lot needs to happen before the actual physical walk off, right? You're talking about building a solidarity fund, making sure that the people who do strike actually have resources, right, to to sustain a strike. So again, that's what I hope again that the league will be at some point. Not just the league, but just we'll have systems in place where, okay, if we want to strike, now we have an actual pathway, we have funds set aside, we have infrastructure in place to sustain this, right? Because we know what's going to happen if a strike were to occur, right? Capital is going to tap into the surplus population. Now you have possibly unemployed individuals who are going to just be used as collateral, to basically further divide, the working class. So there is ways, around it, right? Again, that's the building of community. That's getting everyone on the same page, the same accord about what our objectives is. We're not just asking for concessions. It's like it's ours in a sense, the wages, the labor that's generated, the profits that's generated. So we're not asking for a bigger piece of the pie. We'll say, well, you keep your piece of the pie, that's fine, but we're going to build a whole nother pie with a different set of ingredients, right? So we're gonna feed us, we're gonna take care of us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I know what you're saying about a general strike withholding labor. However, if the No Kings, if all of those people would go on strike, I'm already on strike. I mean, I'm retired. I just try not to buy anything, and the only place I work is here. So I did everything I could think of. But that's enough people that would make a difference, because all they care about is money.
On Saturday, actually, we're going to bring that up as an issue. I found a article about, it was the announcement that the mayor had called for general strike at the No Kings rally. And then that didn't go any further, but it does go back into the history. And Chris, you're right. Systems have to be set up in order for those to actually work. And a lot of those were dismantled. There was a pretty successful general strike, I think a little post World War II.
Yeah.
And there were systems put in place to really block that. Congress passed that, I forget, Taft or something. I can't remember the name of the bill, but it really put obstacles. It might have been Taft-Hartley. Yeah. That really put obstacles into that process. Like, you're right. They were prepared. They were prepared to be able to successfully do that. We may not be there at all. So we would have a lot of work to do.
So we have to rethink how that looks.
Well, and we have
a consumer strike would hurt them a lot, I think.
Yeah.
There's so many ideas out there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping one takes hold. And to not buy from big box stores, to not order online during the Christmas season, only buy local as much as possible, handmade if you can, or give, like what I did for my stepdaughter and I have a birthday really close to each other. We just gave stuff that we had around the house
There you go.
to each other. Like, oh, I think she'd like this.
Yeah.
I can give it up. It's
There
fine.
you go.
A way to pull your money out, because that's what they rely on.
Yes.
That fourth quarter is like everything.
Now, I want to bring up Liddell, who we had as a guest a couple weeks ago, and I got you to meet her. And then I want to talk about what you two are planning, because, she does wonderful work. If you folks didn't see the show, she does wonderful work. She's a gardener, and she has 2 gardens that she is assisting the Black Panther Party Cubs. One's at the Hampton House, one's on the south side of Chicago. Hampton House is out in Maywood, Illinois. And just Chris, talk about your meeting with Liddell and what you two have planned.
Yeah, so thank you again, obviously, for forwarding her my contact information. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, so we just kind of linked up. We just kind of talking back and forth. I did send her like my landing page, just a little bit of information about the project, a little information about myself. And then I just asked, hey, do you want to meet up in person possibly? It might be a good chance for me to show you an actual like assembled package, kind of let you see what the items are, kind of explain it a little bit more. So yeah, we had a meeting, and I gave her the package. Hey, you keep that. Anyone who can use it. That's the point. So I believe she attended, what was it, the poetry night?
Yep.
At the Hampton House. Yeah, like this last Friday. So she had some good news. So yeah, she was more or less just kind of saying that she did share with the chairman, the package and information about the project. So he's excited. He definitely wants to do a collab at some point in the future. And I may be receiving donations as well, which is always welcome. But that in itself, right? just the building of a connection, like that is paramount. You know what I mean? So again, the work is great, but building, a network, right? Solidarity with, comrades. It's like that's what's the most important. It's like if at the end of this I give out hundreds and thousands of packages but don't build any infrastructure relationships, it would have been, in my opinion, really for nothing. You know what I mean? So it needs to be everything. You know what I mean? So we need to have people transform their idea and their mindset about what is possible, right? Because if you would have asked me this time, last year, would I be engaged with this? I would have said no, probably not. That's inconsequential. That's not really going to make an impact. But I keep telling myself that any gesture, no matter how small, it does. And I've distributed a few packages, already. So I came across a guy who's sleeping on the bench. I didn't bother to wake him. I just left the package there, right?
Okay.
And I noticed he didn't even have socks sleeping on the bench. So, but best believe when he woke up, he had the package and he had socks in there. So it's just letting people know that, hey, even if you don't know me, you can't see me, there are people out there that do care about you, and your well-being, and it just comes from a place, and again, it just comes from that place of, wanting to build, solidarity, you know what I mean? And every honest, sense of the word. So it starts there, it definitely starts there. So yeah, I am excited, to just meet people and just, kind of get out there and do the work, right? And like I said, I'm expecting a lot of different type of reactions, going forward. But like I said, I'm not more or less preoccupied with that. Just building. That's what I'm doing. I'm building. Right. So I got about 30 packages assembled now. So hopefully about a week or two, I should 40, 50. So like I said, yeah, I'm gonna keep going. So it's like if one person can do that with their own time and resources, imagine what a network, you know.
So that's your goal, is to build the network so it takes care of everyone.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this will give way to a fund, a micro fund in the future, right? That is going to be uh, the material benefit. Oh well, so and so's lights are going to be cut off. Well, no, it's not, because the league, the network stepped in. That's what we do. That's what we do. So now we need to take that idea and spread it. That's just what we do. No one is going to go without, simply because we have it within our means to make sure no one goes without collectively. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and I can really relate to your feeling of seeing people on the street and feeling helpless. Hey, Kalia, she's here.
Oh, hey, Kalia.
Because I used to live in a bigger city. I used to live in San Diego, and it's like, almost being fresh off the boat. They know that you're from somewhere else at first, so everybody comes ask you for something, and eventually you can't give it. Your pockets are empty. Like, I won't have anywhere to live too if I keep giving. So I come at it from a more systemic place to try to get people in office that will work on these things to work in tandem with what you're doing, because the system is designed to just like not care for people now.
It has completely turned in that direction. I cannot believe. I just saw another thing of Gavin Newsom saying he wants to have towns say that homeless encampments are illegal. I mean, it's bizarre. I can't.
Yeah,
and
so it's both.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but it just seems like government's going in the opposite direction. That's the weird thing. They're like, now it's, like homelessness is something you're supposed to despise. It's like, it's weird. It's weird. But I wanted to tell you my story, which I kind of felt like, so, it was one of those polar vortexes, and I was like kind of panicked, and so I went to the Walgreens. I bought a bunch of those hand warmer things. You crunch them and they, warm your hands. And I went over to the spots where the tents are, which is, just by the lake. I live by the lake, and a couple of the streets down. And I was like handing them out, and it was nice. And then after, I was like, God, this is not enough. This is not enough. And so, I feel what, you talk about, Chris, how this is something that we have to really build. And we really have to build to be able to, be there to help folks, because, it's really important.
Yeah, it's about trying to overcome, that individualism. What I mean? It's like it's not a race, to the top, because what's at the top anyway? How does it benefit you and the greater public, right?
Right.
And the one thing that's going to be different, right, about what I want to do is like there is no power structure in terms of top down. It's horizontal. It's everyone has an equal say in what direction we go in. You can easily dismantle organizations when there's only one person to focus on, or a handful of people. No, this way everyone is equally as important. We have different roles, sure, but we're all important. You know what I mean? So the whole movement, the whole community, is important. Yeah. So yeah, it's just about trying to, like I said, kind of take that idea and just kind of make it, pervasive. It's like there's recently there was a lot of talk about the Supreme Court, I guess, trying to overturn voting rights. They're gonna, I guess, affect southern states primarily, obviously, marginalizing Black communities the most.
Okay.
And again, we're nowhere near close there as of yet, but the idea is that, look, voting rights as they were a concession. They were put in place to manage, dissent.
Okay.
Yep. It was never a tool to actually, liberate anyone, especially on the premise alone, putting all of your hopes and thoughts on a representative that may or may not do certain things based on what the state may or may not let them do. So long term, it was never going to, to be an option to really get us the things that we want. We'll have just enough so we don't complain, but it'll never be, enough, like you said, to really take care of the systemic, root issues.
Yep.
But for me, the idea is we're gonna do something different. We're not going to fight and complain against the state. We're gonna build on our own over here. So yeah, you can do whatever you like over there. That's fine, but we're gonna be building over here. So
I love it, Chris. I love it. Right.
I just realized that you know, the problem with our government is they never took the Hippocratic Oath. First,
There you
do
go.
no harm.
Yeah.
That's all they've been doing. And I feel like, the things that are built need protection because Liddell lost her gardens to the city.
Yeah.
So
They were the ones.
I
Yeah.
think I love what you're doing. I'm going to work on the other side and try to get people in there that will protect what you're doing. So
Yeah.
because capitalism will just come in and do what they do,
And that, I was just going to say, that's why I like the Green Party, because I think it seems like we're finding a whole lot of folks who get it, who kind of get it, right? Who get that, like, this is not, yes, we're a political party, but we understand that it's going to take more than electoral politics.
Yes.
I mean, that without a doubt, it's going to take more than and we don't put everything into that. We're working hard on that side of it, but we understand that that's not the end all. It isn't, because you're right, Chris. That's, it's still going to be the systems. You're going to have to beg to, right?
Yeah. We shouldn't have to come on bended knee to get the wealth that we created.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's precisely the point. So just imagine how disingenuous, that is, right? To the institutions that we've paid our tax money into, and to be fair, it's not exactly like we get a vote on where the dollars actually go. They just,
Right.
and then when you consider how funds are being misappropriated, how funds are being, stolen by capital interest. So again, it's like, this is what you're doing with our time and money. So why am I going to go, to you and try to bargain for something that's mine anyway?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make much, make much sense to me.
And that's a really good point, because in a way, that's how I approach the Green Party too. It isn't my goal to like win this election and beat this person. It's to expose the system for how corrupt it is. That's really that's what I'm doing this for, right? Is to expose it. Right?
And build relationships with folks like you.
Right.
So if there's some way that I can help, like Liddell inspired me to get a surplus of eggs from my neighbor and take them to the food bank.
Yeah.
Because I was getting them from him, and he's got chickens just right next door. And I was gone for a while, and then my son did shopping and bought eggs. And I'm like, he's probably got way too many right now. And then it just dawned on me, I should take him to the food bank.
Yeah.
And I used to help out. Some of the local people will cook on Thursday afternoon and supply lunch, but I'm like, this is a never end thing, and I want these people to be off the street. I want them to have food. I want them to, so I think it's wonderful to give. And I love that you're building it beyond that. I love that. And
I'm also, learning
and more.
I'm learning a lot, along the way. Cause when I did speak with Liddell about that situation with the garden, I was like, well, and again, I don't know that much about community land trust, but I've been looking into it, right? Like you said about protection. It's like having the legal protections so where when we do build something, it stays with us, in perpetuity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing. So, like me, for example, right now, getting, the legalities, out of the way right now, making sure that I'm protected, as well, because it's about integrity. And there's no sense in starting a movement and, starting, this whole project again, if it can be kind of upended by some sort of, bureaucratic technicality.
Oh, I mean,
so it's like the work is too important, for that to happen.
Thank you.
I mean, I've heard the stories where people get arrested for giving out food, right? So we do have to address.
You gotta have a permit to be nice. Like, what country are we living in again?
It is unreal.
So, like I said, I am like the sole distributor right now. Just done a few drop-offs, but eventually, setting up around encampments. Eventually going out into these communities and actually interfacing with people is going to be like the next step. I've already compiled what I called a package hub. So it's like a clear bin, have about 8 to 10 assembled packages, And actually, I plan to speak with, Hampton House, because I would like that site to be the first location for like the first official, hub. You know what I mean? But again, it's not just there. It's going to be hubs anywhere I can get them. And each place is going to have a hub steward who I'm going to work with. So they're going to be responsible for kind of replenishing, each hub, so it's like, that's just the natural, evolution, of this project. How can we put little packages anywhere where anybody can get them, take what you need, give what you can, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Oh,
I
and
love that. Take what you need, give what you can.
There you go. And Hampton House, that is the perfect place. I've never seen that before. There is a refrigerator, and it's out in the front yard, folks. And it is a fully stocked refrigerator. It's got a shed around it to protect it from the weather. It's just amazing. And I know that I don't know right now it is working. I know the city really fought against it and tried to stop it. And, as when Chris and I were out there, Rome from RBN, Revolutionary Blackout Network, he had a mutual aid event. He came in from Detroit. And so we hung out there, and we're just hanging out in the front with all the things that we're giving away. And sure enough, we saw folks just like walk in, open the gate, go in, go to the fridge, grab something, leave. So folks in the community know it's there, and it's an amazing thing to have. So yeah, Chris, you're going to the right spot.
Yeah, but it's like, but one thing that also struck me too about that event, I don't know if you remember, it was some of the reactions from some of the people that were receiving, diapers, and do you have to sign something? Yeah. Oh, well, they were just kind of taken aback just by the thought of just giving. No, we don't want anything. Here, take it. It's for you. Right. So it's like, again, that reaction needs to become, how can I put it? Not normalized, but their reaction needs to become less and less normalized.
Unconditioned.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's
they've been conditioned to expect to have to sign for it, and you need my info. And
it's a trick.
There is no conditions. Do you need it? Well, do we have it to give? Well, great. That's all that it takes.
Well, because it comes from that rugged individualism bullcrap that's been peddled my entire life. None of us, the human race, would not be here without community. Yeah. We were a group of tribes, basically. And this hierarchy is new. This nuclear family thing is new, which is breaking apart because it, intergenerational people in your house used to be a normal thing.
Yeah.
And they just keep splitting us up. So then that's why suicides are at an epidemic level, depressions, all that kind of stuff.
I just saw a little meme in the median age of home buyer in 1985 maybe was like 33, and now it's like 63. And it's just kind of a really good little, example of how the system is falling apart. It's, young people certainly can't afford a home. That's just not a reality for anyone. And so, you could see how there's so many examples how systemically it isn't working. Capitalism is failing, as they've theorized for 150 years now. That was going to be the reality,
because it has winners and losers. It's built on winners and losers,
and it has one winner and 1,000 losers.
And the longer it goes on, the less winners, the more losers.
Right. Now we're going to have a trillionaire.
It's built off exploitation. Like you said, it's like you can't be a millionaire and a billionaire without, depressing wages and, exploiting the labor. It just doesn't happen, any other way, than that. Right. Yeah. But I guess the trick is that they convince everyone that if you work hard enough, you can have the same things. I mean, they don't tell you exactly at whose expense, let alone your own expense, in that pursuit. But that's the idea that's, that's being sold. And when you kind of detach yourself from that, pursuit, you begin to live a fuller life. And that's exactly where I'm at right now. It's like I'm not, again, preoccupied with the monetary pursuit or the pursuit of material things. It's thinking like a community. What's the best for everybody? And if you say this is what it is and this is my contribution to that, okay, well then that's what we have to do. I mean, it's logical for me. It's not, I'm not caught up in the quote unquote, I guess, politics. It's not political, it's personal. So it's not
Right.
really political for me, you know, in that sense, but it's no ideologies attached. It's just this is what is needed. And like I said, with everything that's going on now, you can be upset, you can be angry, that's justifiable, and I agree with you, but you need to channel it in the proper places. You know,
Yes.
there's a lot of people that can use that anger, you know, and that rage. You know, you just have to put it into a positive, you know, a positive place, and not positive like, oh well, kumbaya, we're going to hold hands. No, it's just positive as in I'm going to actively make a decision, you know, in my life to lead with, you know, love, right? Lead with love in the sense that I'm going to take a vested interest in you, not just myself, right? You know, that type of love, like, hey, I want to see you actually well. I'm not going to vote for a representative that says you need these things. No, I'm going to do all that I can to make sure you have some of the things because, you know, again, the systems are failing, institutions are failing. So this is where we come in to kind of, you know, pick up the slack and again to, you know, build something else. And we have that capacity to do that. It's like our power isn't just in voting. It never has been. Our power is within each other.
Yep.
You know, so we just have to get back to that place, you know, on a mass scale where we can kind of fully materialize that.
So you're doing well in the comment section for sure. Cindy's here.
Yay! Let's see.
What a beautiful conversation.
Yeah. Hey,
and
Jimmy.
Jason Wakeman.
Jason, all right.
Just put that up. And I want to talk about this one because you were talking about anger, right? Like you know, first things break your heart. Usually that means you're human, right? But then you get a little mad. But you can, it's not really pushing it down. It's just like putting it into a ball and then using that energy to get out there and do everything you can to make it stop.
Yeah.
You know, that's
it's about,
like a ball of fire just right there.
Yeah, it's just trying to repurpose that energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it's
like, yeah, you know, I have those knee-jerk, you know, reactions, like you said, because we're, you know, we are human, and so when I'm done, you know, crying, and when I'm done, you know, getting upset, then I start to focus again and say, well, what is really important, right? It's like, what can I do today or tomorrow to, you know, to make me less angry? And for me, it's work. So whenever I feel those emotions, every package given, every relationship that's going to be built is going to be, you know, the answer, you know, to that. It's not enough to just be a critic. It's not enough to just, you know, realize and understand what's going on. That's great, but you have to put it into practice in any way, you know, that you can. You put it out there into the world. So yeah, that's where I'm at with things right now.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and it's not enough to define the problem over and over.
No, it's not.
No.
And I might be.
You do that, but you have to have like a follow-up.
See, I don't know if I'm there yet. I think I'm more like in Joe Harrington space. So let me share that one. You need it to get worse. Thank you, Joe, for that. That's how I feel too.
Yeah. Well, I have days that I feel like that.
Oh yeah.
But then it passes. Yeah. You know, you talk to your friends, you commiserate a little. When I'm down, somebody else is up, and vice versa. And you know, that's another way we help each other is through emotional support.
Right. And
you know?
That's why I love Green Live Stream too, actually, because we can have these conversations here, and Chris saw Liddell out of Green Live Stream, and that's how we build things, right? Is we're out there communicating, and so again, you know, sorry to make it another Green Party plug, but it's just you know, that's what this is about. That's what this is about.
Well, I feel like it's given me a platform to connect with people about things I care about.
Yeah. And I think Butch Ware was right when he said that, you know, the thing about electoral politics is that it's all issues. So that's the good thing about it. It is that you can cover everything within a setting of, you know, this organized group.
Yeah. And I do agree. The voting box is just a small piece It's the work you do outside of it that really counts.
Yeah.
That's almost like the end result in a way.
Yeah.
Like that's the final push. And then you go back to what you were doing.
Yeah. Right. That's only one day.
Yeah. It's like, in my opinion, it's like, the politician at best case is basically just a conduit, right? It's, they are supposed to exact what the community wants. But again, if there's infrastructure in place, does it matter if that particular candidate wins or loses? No, because what you built was much more beautiful and long lasting and sustainable. You know what I mean? You have a community that can feed themselves independent of grocery stores. They can, they can provide their own energy, independent of public, utility, whatever it may be. It's like that's the beauty, of this, the autonomy. It's just, we don't need you. we don't need you. I mean, sure. I mean, you tell us that we do, but in reality, we really don't. There's a lot of hurdles to get over, but ultimately, we just need each other.
Yes.
And just that shared belief and in the struggle. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah. So, hi, Kalia.
Hey, Kalia. Hope you're feeling better. Oh my gosh.
Edie and Scott have offered me a shoulder many times. Very, very grateful to know them. And I wouldn't know her if I hadn't joined the Green Party.
Right.
But this is what I love about it. We save ourselves.
Right.
Yes.
We save ourselves.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wow. I don't even know where to go from that. I don't think there's anything left to say.
Well, just
maybe how they could get a hold of you if somebody wants to help.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I can just put it in the.
You can put it in the private chat, and I'll share it if you'd
Okay.
like.
Yeah. Let me do that now.
If you see that at the bottom on the right side.
Okay.
And maybe we could do a banner.
Oh, we don't have to. I can just put it in the chat.
Okay.
Because that's where people are gonna see it. Yeah. Okay. Copy link. I talk to myself a lot.
There you go.
It helps, I swear.
Oh, okay. Whatever it takes. Whatever.
There you go. So they can sign up with this?
Yeah, so I believe
or they can
it has I believe it has so actually there's an email address that's attached. So that's like the most direct way anyone can reach out right now. Then obviously, depending on who follows up with me, I can always.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well done, my friend.
Yeah. Do you have any logo for if you need a logo? Let me say it that way. I got somebody that I could hook up, especially if you want to have something that has like an action hero feel to it. My friend does graphics for a lot of my music.
That's just
please. I'll
take okay. I will hook you up with Darren. He's my graphic designer. He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I'm almost seeing like Justice League level.
Right.
Because that's what you want. The Justice League.
Right. No, and I know this is starting to sound like marketing and capitalism mode, but it's just actually if your packages do have something that identifies it, that is helpful because then people hear, oh yeah, it came from, and then they can pass that word on. So in that way, it is helpful.
A little bit of branding is
right.
Not a bad
little
thing.
branding is absolutely.
Yeah, and we're here to help you however we can.
Oh, I appreciate that. I forgot to mention, so each package has what I call like a community input slip.
Oh,
so obviously not everyone has access to a camera phone, but if they do, it has a QR code and it goes to just a simple question, like what's some of the hardest items to get out here. So essentially what that's going to turn into, it's like a feedback loop more or less. So we're going to have people from the community directly telling me and my network, like, what they need, right? So we're not dictating to anyone, what they want and need. They can tell us. And that'll dictate again, what the packages look like. But I'm even prepping for the winter season, including hand warmers, what is like the ski masks and the beanie hats. So haven't done anything just yet, but again, that's what this is going to look like. Tailoring packages for specific needs, safety oriented. Cold weather, that sort of thing. So,
Chris, I have a friend who actually has a lot of experience with homeless in Chicago as being a homeless person for many years. And and I'll get you in touch with that person because they would definitely have good ideas or recommendations, and I mean, they know it. I swear, like I'll be driving with him on the Lakeshore Drive, and he could like, that's Tom, that's Jody, that's like, he could name the tents. Okay, so this person knows the homeless community in Chicago. So yeah, I'll get you in touch with them.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. And this is how we build community, right here.
Yeah,
it is.
It's beautiful. And you answered the question that I had forgotten to ask. What is in the dignity package?
Yeah.
But that that varies. We just had a homeless sweep down here, which I keep talking about because it makes me so angry.
Yeah.
And I felt powerless to stop it, and we did what we could. But we went to our city council, and I'm like, where are they supposed to go? And they're like, nothing.
Right.
Yep. And I said, does anybody even ask them what they actually need? So it reminded me of that conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go back because I don't give up.
Right.
As everybody here will attest to.
That is true.
I'm like a dog with a bone.
Yeah. There you go.
So, but thank you for being here, and thank you for the work you're doing.
Yeah,
thank you.
You have my contact info now and Scott's. I know I'm far away, but if there's any idea that you have or something you think I can help with, please let me know.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll be here Saturday at noon Central Time for News of the Week. It's going to be a banger.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
We don't even know what it's going to be yet. We got to wait a couple more days.
Thanks to everybody who checked in, and yes, it was a wonderful conversation. Absolutely. I knew it would. I was like, yes, we're going to get Chris on. All right. Yes. I was so thrilled. Yeah. Thanks, Chris, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
And if you want to hang out and talk to Scott after, that's fine, but I do have to go. So.
Okay.
All
right.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
An uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising. Fight the power. It's an uprising. Fight the power.